You open your mailbox and there it is, a letter from the IRS. Your heart sinks, your mind races, thinking things like, am I in trouble? What did I do? If that's you right now, take a deep breath because this video is exactly what you need. I'm Andrew Bosterman, former IRS agent turned tax attorney. I've been on both sides of the table, and I wrote the book, The IRS Survival Guide, to give you the inside knowledge that most taxpayers never get. Today we're starting with the quick start guide, what to do the moment you hear from the IRS. So the number one thing you need to do is don't panic because most notices are manageable. The first thing you need to understand is this. Receiving an IRS notice does not automatically mean you're in trouble. The IRS sends tens of millions of notices every year. Many are routine, a math discrepancy, maybe a missing form, a request for documentation, or possibly a balance due. But the problem isn't the notice itself. The problem is sometimes what happens next. So here's what I've seen destroy taxpayers. They ignore the letter, maybe they think it'll go away, maybe they're scared, but ignoring IRS communication triggers an automatic escalation. A simple misunderstanding can turn into assessed penalties, then liens, then levies on your bank account. I've had clients come to me after ignoring 5, 6, 7 or more IRS notices, and what could have been a quick and simple fix at the beginning turns into a nightmare costing thousands of dollars to fix. Next step, you need to read the notice and understand what exactly the IRS is saying. You need to do this because not all IRS notices are the same. And here's a breakdown of a few common ones. There's a notice called CP 2000. This one is when the IRS believes your income that you report on your return doesn't match third-party records. This is a proposal, not a final assessment, and you have time to respond. You may also receive the notice, CP 504 notice. This is an intent to levy your assets. This one is fairly urgent, although not always as urgent as the letter makes it sound, but the IRS is preparing to take aggressive collection action if you don't respond and resolve the amount they say you owe. A notice of deficiency. Now this is serious. This is the IRS formally proposing to assess additional tax against you. You have 90 days to file a tax court petition or the tax becomes legally owed, and that 90-day period is set in stone. You can't miss it. Otherwise, you lose the best opportunity to challenge the assessment. And then you may have also received a LT11 or a letter 1058. This is a final notice of intent to levy. And this is one where you need to act now. The IRS is actually preparing generally to levy your accounts within 30 days unless you respond. But fortunately, there are generally an appeals process you can go through to stop it. But whenever you receive a letter from the IRS, whether it was one of those I just talked about or a different one, always check the notice date and the deadline. IRS deadlines are real, and missing them can cost you your right to appeal. So now in my book, I go through a 5-step response plan to respond to an IRS notice. Here's a quick overview of the framework. And if you want to see more, you can look in the book. But step 1, you want to verify the notice is legitimate. Sometimes debt collection agencies or other individuals send out letters that look like they're from the IRS, but they're actually a scam. If it looks off to you, definitely confirm. Call the IRS and confirm, not the phone number on the letter, but a number you find at irs.gov. You can also log into your IRS account at irs.gov and verify any balances you owe. And also they're starting to put correspondence in there, so you may be able to see copies of your notices. Step 2 is identify what the IRS is claiming and what they're asking for. Are they claiming that you owe money? Are they claiming that your income is underreported? Just figure out what the IRS, what triggered the notice and what they're asking for. That leads into step 3, which is gather your documents. Figure out what the IRS is asking for and gather what they need to see. Do they need to see proof that you made a tax payment they don't have record of? Do they need proof that you filed your return on time? Then you want to gather your certified mail receipt. But generally, You want to respond with as much backup documentation as possible if that's what the IRS is asking for, because they generally won't just accept your assertions that you filed your tax return on time. They're going to want to see proof of timely mailing, which is often a certified mail receipt. Step 4, respond in writing. If the IRS sends you a notice, it's generally best to respond in writing. Now, sometimes you can call, it depends on the situation, but a written response creates a paper trail. And oftentimes, if you're sending in additional documentation, you need to respond in writing. Now, that doesn't always mean you have to send it via snail mail. The IRS sometimes allows responses via fax, or more, it's becoming more common, you can also upload documents to the IRS electronically. But you want to keep a paper trail and proof that you submitted a response to the IRS. And whenever you're sending anything to the IRS, send it certified mail with return receipt so you can prove that you sent it timely and that you sent a response to the IRS. And finally, step 5, if the amount the IRS claims you owe or might owe is significant, or the notice is complex and you don't understand it, get professional help immediately. When dealing with the IRS is not the time to try to figure things out on your own. You can miss deadlines, which you lose appeals rights or the right to go to tax court. So getting professional help, reaching out to someone like me or another tax attorney, we can tell you what the notice actually means, what your situation is, and how we can help. And if it's something you might be able to solve on your own, I'm happy to tell you that as well. So I've made a detailed 48-hour action plan in the book at the IRSsurvivalguide.com. It walks you exactly what to do and when, so feel free to check it out there for more details. And finally, let's talk about the human element, which a lot of people don't talk about, but this is something the IRS doesn't advertise. The outcome of most tax disputes isn't determined purely by the numbers. It's determined by how you respond. A calm, organized, professional response signals to the IRS that you're a cooperative taxpayer who may have just made an honest mistake and not a target worth pursuing. A panicked, incomplete, or hostile response oftentimes does the opposite and raises more scrutiny. This is actually the entire core thesis of my book, The IRS Survival Guide, how the human element is extremely critical in dealing with the IRS. Now, it's important to know the law and to know everything dealing with the IRS, how the IRS works, but the human element, actually dealing with people in the IRS, because when it comes down to it, you're writing a letter that's going to be read by a human, or talking with a human on the phone, meeting face-to-face with an IRS agent or with an IRS attorney. This is probably the most overlooked part of IRS disputes, and I think it's where you can actually make the most difference. And I'm going to keep coming back to this. I come back to it throughout my entire book and throughout this series of videos I'm going to be making. So before I go, if you found this video valuable, I want to make sure you have everything you need to protect yourself from the IRS. And that's why I'm giving away a free PDF copy of my book, The IRS Survival Guide, at theirssurvivalguide.com. So feel free to head there now, grab your copy, and arm yourself with every strategy in the book, not just this 48-hour response guide I mentioned. It's completely free, no strings attached, and you don't have to wait till the IRS comes knocking. Get your copy of the book and get prepared today. Thanks so much for watching. If this video helped you, please subscribe and share it with someone else, and I will see you in the next video.